ever. This meeting is part of our regularly scheduled monthly events, of which we have many. To further set the record straight, I would like to let you know that today's speakers, and we're proud to have them here, were scheduled far in advance of the election. Because Senator Heller and Representative Amedee are so business friendly, and we are a business organization, their national insight is valuable to our business members. Had they been part of the Democratic Party, they would have been here as well. As I said, we are apolitical. I also want you to know that in their time in office, they have received annual recognition, and I've had the opportunity to give them their annual statue of award for their pro-business stance from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce. And as a business organization, that is very important to us. Mr. Amedee and Mr. Heller are hometown boys. Mr. Amedee graduated from Carson High, he's the older one, in 1976, and Mr. Heller in 1978. Both have very, very deep roots in this community. And they have appeared before our chamber members and at this luncheon many times. I would like now to take the opportunity to introduce our esteemed mayor, Robert Crowell, who will further introduce our honored guest today. Mr. Crowell.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. What a beautiful day to invite our congressional representatives here. You know, and I got to tell you, I don't know, Dean, if you did it or Mark did it, but you know, we've been going through a little weather problems here. And we submitted a claim for FEMA for about $3.3 million, and we got it turned around immediately. So I know the news release came back with the president's name on it, but I want to know between you and Mark, who did that? Where's Mark? Both of you did that. And so I want you to know, Dean, that the last one was 3.3 million. Where's Mark? There he is, hiding over there. We submitted one for 3.3 million. The next one's going to be 5.5 million. So that's why I say that. And you know, we are getting a break in the weather. Let me just take a moment to say, you know, there's been a lot of weather events happening right now, and I know a lot of people are concerned about, you know, the potholes and the roads and stuff like that, which we should be. But one of the things we're trying to do is wait till, you know, everything settles down so we don't have to go back and rebuild or redo things twice. I mean, it's going to be a struggle no matter what. And, you know, we have put in for FEMA funding, FEMA help, and the governor's been very helpful in that as well. And we've also put in claims to our insurance companies. So we're going to be working through it, but it's not going to be an overnight process. We're going to wait till things settle down so that we don't have to go spend more money. Today, we'd like to introduce Senator Heller, who's one of 100, and Congressman Mark Amedee, who's one of 535 local boys from Carson City. Mark is my neighbor, and if you're good to him, he'll come shovel your walk, and if you're really good to him, he'll come tell you where his cigars are hidden. I've got a Cuban cigar for you, Mark. And Dean Heller, you know, when I look at, you know, I go back and I remember the day when we opened Carson Street. And, you know, we all grew up here. And it was such a pleasure to see, you know, our United States Senator come help us open, you know, a transforming Carson Street. It was really wonderful of you to do that. And there was one other thing that happened that day that I should mention. You know, you took home for Carson City the Community Beer Contest Award for Carson City. And you know, that may sound like, Lynn, I know, it sounds like a small thing. But, you know, that's what makes communities. That's what makes communities. So, you know, with that said, let me just say, we're looking forward to hearing what you have to say. And thanks, you know, keep us on the radar back there. Keep Team on its feet. We'll go forward. So, without further ado, Mark and Dean.
Your mayor, you forgot one major thing. Carson City has a brand new look, and we have a lot of people who are not from Carson City here today. And I would like for you to formally invite them to go see the downtown. So, formally invite.
You're formally invited. Come down to Carson City, come down see McFadden Plaza, and next year after we do some planning, you'll be able to see some other things going on here. So anyway, we live in a beautiful community, folks, and there's a lot of things going on, but we live in a beautiful community, and you know, communities are made up of people who work together. Let me just leave it like that.
All right. And there are no potholes downtown. So, Mr. Amadei, Mr. Heller, you each have a table, and there's a little button there that turns on the mics. You want the red table, whatever you want, okay, whatever you want. This is your show. So, without further ado, take it away.
No, go ahead. I mean, but first of all, I would like to say thank you. Thank you all for coming with a good mic. I'm just glad that everybody came to hear the mayor's weather report. Now that that's done, are there any questions?
See, this is why men need women.
Yes.
Dean, just one other thing before you get into the meat, and that is I was listening to our esteemed president of the chamber here talking about how this is an apolitical organization. And I think that's true in our experience because they're happy to chew anybody's ass they can get a hold of at any given time. So with that...
Thanks, Mark. I see Mark brought his fan club with him, too. You're going to hear them a little bit outside. But it's great to be here. It's great to be here with Mark. As you all know, Mark and I went to high school together. And, of course, the mayor did mention that he's also a graduate of Carson High School. And you know, back in Washington, D.C., I let people know that Paul Laxalt also was a graduate of Carson City High School. And it does grab people's attention when you see senator after senator, House members, all coming out of the same high school, and they're wondering, okay, what does this mean? And then I tell them it's the home of the senators. And then you really get their attention. So anyway, it all works out. My wife and I, as we were driving in here this morning, I was looking up at Curry Street, and I reminded Lynn that 40 years ago, I was 16 years old, and so do the math. And my father had his automotive business on Main Street. And when he'd fix an engine or a transmission, I'm 16 years old, he'd say, hey, go test drive the thing. And I'd test drive the thing down Curry Street. And we'd go right there in front of the Indian Colony and everything else, and I'm driving these cars 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, and I'm 16 years old. And to this day, I still wonder, why would they let a 16-year-old, run up and down Curry Street to check all the gears and out of the transmission? But that just goes to show you how far back both of our roots are here in Carson City, and I'm very pleased to still have parents that are alive and well and living on the west side of town. But it's great to be here. It's great to take some time. I want to thank the chamber. You guys always host me at least once a year. I want to thank Gold Dust for today. The meal is great. I appreciate the hospitality that we have here also, and all of you that are in attendance today, because this is all about pro-business. All about pro-business and what we're trying to do with Washington, D.C. But Mayor, thank you very much for the invitation. It's certainly good to see you, and I'm always pleased when my wife is with me. I want to start by telling you the committees that I am on, and the reason I'm telling you this is the impact that it should have on everybody here in this room. I sit on the Finance Committee, the Banking Committee, and the Commerce Committee. Anything that has to do with the economy of this country goes through one of those three committees. 100% of any tax reform, banking reform, highway bills, any of that, all of that goes through one of those three committees. And my goal back in Washington, D.C. is to have a growth economy. That's the goal, is to have a growth economy. And I've had, obviously, a number of the president's nominees and cabinet members come through my office, and you know what they talk about? They talk about growth. And that's what they're talking about in the last 8 years. If you take a look at the last 8 years, we went $10 trillion in debt. We raised taxes $1 trillion. We lost $1 trillion in individuals, students having to pay their debt. And we also lost $1 trillion in economic losses. Now this has to change. This has to change here in this country. If we're going to grow and expand this economy, we can't do it at 1.5%. It simply can't happen. It has to be at a greater extent. So as these nominees are coming through my office, they're talking about 3% growth, 4% growth, even 5% growth for this country. And that's what we have lacked. That's really what we have lacked over the last number of years. And so this is what needs to change. I sit on the Finance Committee. On the Finance Committee, we're going to do tax reform. We're going to lower corporate tax rates. We're at 35% in this country. Highest corporate tax rates in the world. And they wonder why. And they wonder why we're not competitive. Why aren't we competitive around the world? It's because we have the highest tax rates in the world. And the reason we're going to do tax reform, is because of these inversions. That's these businesses, major businesses that are moving across, moving to other countries. The reason they're moving to other countries is it's cheaper for them to do business in Ireland, in Mexico, in China, and some of these companies that you see they're moving. We've lost over 1,200 major companies in America in the last 10 years to inversions. More than 1,200 companies have left this country because taxes are just too high. So outside of taxes, we'll have tax reform, and we will lower the tax burden that we have on corporations and small businesses, and also for individuals, for everybody. Everybody will get tax reform. And then, on top of that, we'll go over to the banking committee, and then we'll change Dodd-Frank. The reason we will change Dodd-Frank is because we have lost half of the small banks in this state since 2000.
You need to govern for everyone.
50% of the small businesses in this state. We're talking, let me correct that, 50% of the small banks in this state, because they're overregulated. When Dodd-Frank came through, they went after the larger banks. So let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation, and we'll go back and forth, and we're going to open it up for questions, but please, be fair to everybody else in this room. Needless to say, Dodd-Frank is all right.
For the people.
Let's have a one-on-one conversation. Or for that matter, Mark, you want to take it over from here? It's all yours. Why don't you
How's everybody doing today?
Tax breaks for the 1%. At least Ebony has town halls.
Let me know when you're done. If you got any questions for me, I'll go ahead. Keep going. You're filling the space. Well, because I guess the folks in Florida, North Carolina, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania.
You represent Nevada!
Well, I know you're mad at Dee Dee. You don't really mean this about me.
Oh!
I got 4 things I'd like to start talking about. But the fact that a person who said he would support his party's nominee before the person was nominated, and then the person was nominated fair and square, just like Senator Clinton was, Secretary Clinton, and I stuck with that is something that is like, I think it speaks for itself. But we can go on to something else.
Where do you draw the line?
Well, it depends on where the paper is and what the issue is and what the facts are. Thank you for that specific question. So, well,
Sexual assault.
You support breaking families apart?
if anybody wants to hear about health care, immigration reform, tax reform, or public lands bills, let me know. And if there's time for me to say anything about that, I'll attempt to say something
What
about it.
about our democracy?
I think it's doing pretty good.
Really?
Our colleagues voted for it.
So tell us your plan.
That's great. Keep
What's
going.
your plan? What's your plan?
Let's hear your plan.
What's your plan?
Oh, I have a healthcare question. Does anybody want a response to that?
Yes, go for
Here's
it.
the biggest challenge for the Republicans.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest challenge for the Republicans. I think the mistake that was made in the Affordable Care Act was, are you ready for this? There were no hearings. It's a fact, if you care about it. There were no hearings. And so now the Republicans, if they're not intelligent, will come up with their plan that has no hearings. And you know what? They will
That
repeat
is a
mistakes of the
lie.
past.
Universal health care for all.
You've had 7 years to
Would
come up with
anybody
a
like to hear about
plan.
immigration reform?
Yes.
Can I have some time to talk about immigration reform?
Go for it.
The Affordable Care Act. What are you going to replace it with?
Well,
What's your plan?
let me just,
Yeah, let's hear it.
well, if you quit saying let's hear it, maybe you can hear it.
Let's give him a chance to talk.
Not all of you. Can you be respectful for a few minutes? Let them talk.
Say something, please, without getting yelled over, because I am very disabled, and I can't yell over all you people, so don't scream at me. I was a fan of the Affordable Care Act when it first came out, because I was denied by every insurance company out there. I am what's considered uninsurable. I have 4 different diseases, and I will never be whole again, and I'll probably be gone by the time I'm 60, and I'm 53 now. So, I appreciate what was trying to be done, but it was broken. Every year, I lost my insurance. My rates were skyrocketed. I am now hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt because of that policy. Allow somebody to try and do something about this. It is a problem. I agree it needs to be fixed, but please allow people to actually do something about it. Otherwise, people like me are going to die without insurance. I know that.
Can we hear what Emily's plan?
Let's listen to the congressman.
What is your plan?
I'd love to. Can I speak for a minute?
Yes.
Okay, the record should reflect I've been granted some time. Thank you. First of all, know this. From this moment on, Republicans own the health care issue. Anybody disagree with that?
Oh yeah, you own it. You better fix it because.
So is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, so we've agreed on one thing in this room so far. That's good. Now we'll go to the second step. The second step is this. The present system is, in my opinion, speaking only for myself, broken. Let me give you an example. Last week in my office in Washington, D.C., I had a half a dozen people who sell health insurance in the state of Nevada in my office, saying, we got one insurance company in 11 counties in this state. There is no choice. We've got systems, provisions in the present healthcare law that says, guess what? If you sign up and you don't pay your premiums, you cannot be terminated from healthcare for 90 days. We have, and I'm not casting blame in this, we have young people who look at the cost of premiums for the present plan and say, I'm not paying for that, it's too much money. And you say, well, that's their individual value judgments. Maybe it is. But here's what happened in the Medicaid expansion. When we went from 7 different layers of rating to 3, the people at the most expensive tended to be older people like me. Why? Because we tend to use more health care. And so when you move that up, you move the expense for the folks in the bottom end up, not the folks that were older. And so what young people are saying, and I don't blame them for saying it, they're going, I'm not paying for this because it's too expensive, and by the way, I don't need much health care. Okay? So guess what? Well, that's a good question, but let me finish the story. Because the meeting was an urgency meeting saying, hey, you folks need to act as soon as possible because you cannot pass, this is important, whether you're independent, Republican, or Democrat, you cannot pass a law in the United States Congress that requires people to be in the healthcare business. I can't pick Humana and say, it's now the law of the United States of America that you will write health insurance policies. They can get out of the business. As we know in Nevada, many of them have. And so when you talk about compressing to those 3 layers, what young people are doing, which is actually commonsensical, they're going, I'm not signing up until I need it. Because there's no open enrollment. You can sign up anytime you want. And then when I need it, depending on what it is, I can go for as much as 90 days without paying any premiums and getting health care. And if I'm fixed in 90 days, yay.
So what is the plan?
Support universal health care or Medicare for the country.
Lower the age of Medicare.
So I guess my time's up. Can I ask for some more time?
Keep talking. We're here to listen to
I
you.
have some more time.
Give us the plan.
Thank you for those of you. So, I will continue to operate the way I have for the last 5 years. We play to the issue, not the politics. You've heard me differ from the administration on some immigration stuff. You've heard me differ from the administration on other things. But if you think we're not gonna read the bill first and hope.
What is the bill? What is it? What's the plan?
Well, there isn't a bill first because as I would like to, can I have a little more time, please?
This is your floor. Speak.
I remember, well, actually, that wasn't my administration, miss. That was the administration that's gone.
You were in Congress.
So, no, I was in Congress for 5 of them.
Go ahead.
Is my time expired?
Mark, let's break. Mark, need a break.
Oh, wait a minute, I want to get a little bit more time.
You can tag out if you want.
Oh, so now you guys are all giving me and Heller's yanking me too? Can I just finish this part?
Yes.
Remember that if Congress is acting the way that it was supposed to in your high school books, Dean graduated, and hear from people like you, and you, and you. With all due respect, it is February 22nd. I mean, that's like saying you know what's going to happen in the Nevada
You've been
legislature because
talking
they've been in
about
session for
repealing it
19
for
days.
7 years. Where's the plan?
No. Nobody's been working to repeal it for the last 5 years because it wouldn't go through the Senate.
Yes, you have. Yes, you have.
46. That's why you need to have the hearings. My time. All right. Thank you for the time that you did give me. I see that my time has expired. Mr. Heller's turn is
All
up.
right, here we go. Let me just add to a little bit of what Mark said. As you know, this is a Medicaid expansion state. And there's a lot of issues and concerns about that. There are 20 Republicans, myself being included, that are all sitting down in the United States Senate talking about how we make sure that those that are now in this expanded Medicaid program can retain their health care. So bottom line is those discussions are being had. It's not a lack of ideas. It's not a lack of ideas. I've seen a lot of ideas in Washington, D.C. The problem is coalescing behind one program. That's what we're trying to do, is coalesce behind one idea. We're going to get there. We're going to get there. In fact, we just put the health secretary in place last week, so we're looking for some direction from the White House as to the direction they want to go. So this is going to be a legislative process. We'll have the White House's input, and then we're going to move in the right direction, make sure that this happens. So healthcare, I think healthcare is going to move forward, and that's going to happen soon. Like I said, there's a dearth of ideas out there. The problem is it's just coalescing behind one of those ideas. And I will tell you, the majority.
We want your idea. You're our senator.
Wow.
I'm a constituent. That's what I am. I am a constituent.
Indoor voices.
I'm a constituent. I have the right.
Anyway, we're going to move this forward. It'll probably be another 30 to 60 days, and we get these ideas and try to coalesce behind.
What's your idea? What is your idea?
If you like your health care, you can keep it. There you go.
So right.
Most of those provisions are in the bills that we already see. Most of those provisions.
Most?
Let me tell you what provision that I don't like in the Affordable Care Act. Okay, let me tell you what I don't like. And that is, and I've extended this from 2018 to 2020 in my amendment in the United States Senate, and that is the 40% excise tax that 1.3 billion Nevadans are going to get in 2020 on your health care. I mean, can you imagine every employer in the state being stuck with a 40% tax increase based on the cost of their health care? We're continue to push prices and costs higher and higher and higher, and that Cadillac tax has to come to an end. Everybody agrees. The unions agree. The individuals down on the strip, they all agree. Seniors agree. This 40% excise tax has to come to an end. And it's my effort and my issues that are going to push this and make sure that you never have to pay that particular tax. You'll never be able to afford your health care if the 40% excise tax comes into place.
Ryan's set out something this week, and part of it was health savings accounts. So, if everybody's not familiar with health savings accounts, they are really geared for high deductible plans. The normal average person in Nevada, they're not going to be able to afford a health savings.
I'm hearing it all around the country, all around the country. fact, now in Arizona, it costs you more for your health care than it is to buy the average price home. That's how expensive it is. So you can't tax it. You can't add increase. You can't add a 40% increase on top of your health care. But I will just tell you, the provisions that are in there, most of the provisions that you were just talking about are in the ideas that are coming through the legislature at this point. 26 years of age or less, pre-existing conditions. I'm seeing those in a majority of those programs.
Lifetime cap.
Are you gonna support those four that I talked about?
Well, we'll take a look at it. I can't. That's not a problem. We'll see how we. I agree with that. The Affordable Care Act is killing the country.
Nice try, though.
What are you going to do about our veterans?
Senator Heller, I'm a longtime resident of Carson City. I'm a military mother, military spouse, conservationist, environmentalist. I'm very concerned about the environment and natural resources. 2 days ago, you voted to approve the Environmental Protection Agency, knowing to its ties to big oil, gas, and other polluters. What will you do to ensure the protection of clean water, clean air for our children? Our children will and ensure that the United States upholds its commitments to the
I think every president has a right to put their cabinet into place. And I support the cabinet put it into place, but that doesn't mean I support all the policies. Doesn't mean I support the policies. I'm going to treat all the policies that come out of the Trump White House the same way that I treated all the policies that came out of the Bush White House and all the policies that came out of the Obama White House. They're not always right, but they're not always wrong. And when the policy itself comes to my desk, I'll take a look at it. If it's right, I'll support it. If it's good for Carson City, I'll support it. Take for example, nobody's done more on my side of the aisle than myself when it comes to solar energy. In fact, single-handedly, about a year and a half ago, I supported and saved the solar industry in this state and across this country by making sure that the investment tax credit stayed in the omnibus bill to make sure that they had the incentives necessary to continue with the solar energy that we have in this country and in this state. And it's huge for Nevada. It is huge for Nevada. In fact, no state has more alternative energy, than the state of Nevada. So I'll continue.
Why did you vote for a man who doesn't believe in climate change? Why did you vote for him?
I asked him that question specifically.
I
asked him about climate change tonight. That's what he said in my office, and we talked about it. If I don't like his policies, I won't support them. It's simple as that. If I like his policies, I will support them. So we'll keep moving forward on that.
You ignored us. You ignored us.
I'm gonna go.
I talked to the
Well, because I'm dealing with a few things that are Nevada-centric, a few things that are national-centric. We're trying to get a deeper base on healthcare.
I think Clear is Nevada Central.
Well, I'm not saying it's not Nevada-centric. I'm just saying I don't have a vote. I don't have a vote.
I came from Fallon. I paid my own way. I'm an alfalfa farmer and a retired school librarian.
Good.
I have not been paid to come here.
Did I say you were paid to come here?
Yes.
Okay.
Told that.
What?
We're told that we're being paid to
Well,
be here.
let me give you a little flash. I'm sure that you're telling the truth. Now I'm going to give you a little bit of truth. The administration doesn't check with me before they say something. The party doesn't. They don't. No, I'm not representing the administration. I'm representing the third branch of government, which is the legislative branch.
You are Trump's most valuable player.
Actually, I am doing my job. I'm here getting input from constituents. How do you think it's going so far? Unfiltered input. Well, listen, I don't know. Ronnie Hanneman runs a tough ship, but I'm pretty sure she didn't hold a gun to anybody's head and tell them to whatever. I do this every year. You guys want to raise some money at something with a group this big or smaller? Let Mr. Wilkerson organize it and you can fight through.
That's about his position on health care. You know?
Pardon me.
No, that's
Don.
speaks volumes about
Yeah.
your position on health care, immigration, and everything.
Listen, Do we need health care and reform in this country? Yes.
Single payer.
I'm not sold on single payer.
Why not?
With all due respect, how do you think the federal government is doing in providing health care to veterans right now? How do you think that Medicaid and Medicare programs are going with doctors in Nevada? I guess I need to ask, who's the timekeeper for you guys? Can I get a little more time? Yeah, I can. Thanks. Specifically, are there good things in the ACA? The 26 thing? The can buy across state lines? The can't be denied for pre-existing conditions? Are you ready for this word? Yes. Those are good things. Yes, I will support those things in legislation. Okay? But now, I'm okay on lifetime caps too, but here's the problem. You gotta come up with a system that actually pays for itself. And when Dean talks about a 40% Cadillac tax, how many people in here work for somebody where you're self-employed, you're self-insured? Anybody here work for one of the large resort industries? Like the Peppermill in Reno or the Atlantis or those folks? Guess what? They've been self-insured for over 3 decades and doing a great job. It's one of the things that those folks sell their employees when they come to work for them. We got a great health insurance program. We fund it ourselves. We self-insure, blah, 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 come work for us. Guess what? And don't take my word for it. Go ask the Paganettis at the Peppermill or the Farahis go ask any large employer you want. Say, where's that going? And they'll tell you, guess what? We're going to hold out as long as we can.
So what about the rest of us?
And then it's going to be, that's just an example. The problem is one size doesn't fit all.
You're still paying a CEO's salary to stay healthy. It's not a business model that they'll work.
How many people in here were on the Nevada Exchange when it first opened up? Oh, I see I'm in the minority on that. I was in the Nevada Exchange, the silver plan, through St. Mary's. Had to get out. Collapsed. Now that isn't because Republicans are bad or Democrats are good or anything. The concept in our state, in this region, simply didn't work. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm saying you got to come up with a solution that works.
They took away the risk corridor.
And you're right. And guess what?
What?
You're absolutely right.
They haven't heard an answer.
Well, that's because I would like to hear from everybody before we try to fix it.
Do a town hall.
I'm sorry, is there some sort of filter in this room right now? I'll give it my best shot. Thank you very much for the advice. Well then, you can be one of the 130,000 people that voted against me the last election, which is our process. I accept and embrace. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, Mark and Laura. I think the acrimoniousness in this room and all those folks outside kind of displays something. And that's
a bunch of rude assholes.
Look who's talking.
Please continue.
And it's that your constituents want to talk to you, and you're fun to talk to. You like to parry. Would you guys commit to having a public town hall rather than a chamber of commerce? Anyway, that's my question to both of you. In this recess week or in the next recess week, I think is in April, would you guys commit to having a town hall, since the Chamber of Commerce was very clear that this is not that and they don't facilitate that?
I don't know, I think you guys are doing a pretty good job of that. But anyhow.
But that's just so
Yeah, I will. I'll have one.
Can we get a representative?
How about you, Senator Heller?
It's not his turn yet. Hey, this is my time. This is my time.
We want to know what Senator Heller wants to do.
Oh, so you guys don't care about me except for this gentleman here.
How about Senator Heller? One more town hall for the public?
Is my time up?
Yes.
Yes.
Senator Heller, will you do a town hall in this recess
First of
or
all, I think
next
this is a
one?
wonderful town hall. If I was saying town hall, I think this is a wonderful town hall, and I think it's unfiltered. And I appreciate everybody.
This is not a town hall.
We have to
Let me share with you what I have done for the
Will you
last 10
commit to a
years.
town hall in this recess or the
I've
next?
done teletown halls for the last 10 years.
We're asking.
Boo!
town hall meeting.
You guys are the rudest bunch of people. Those yelling and interrupting. My wife's upset. We're gonna leave. I wish you could be a little more adult and a little more courteous. I think you get more done than yelling over people and interrupting people.
And I'll tell you what, I'll do a town hall meeting if you promise one thing, is that you won't applaud. Won't applaud, all right? And I'll tell you what, no booing either. Just no applauding, no booing, and we will have a one-on-one dialogue. Is that fair? No applauding, no booing.
Face to face.
Just like we do in the chamber of the United States Senate. If you applaud and you can't applaud and you can't boo, just have a one-on-one conversation. I'd be more than happy to do it for in an hour. In fact, I'll do it with you, Mark. You and I will do a town hall meeting, and we will have a one-on-one with everybody. But this is the reason I do the town hall meetings. I can get 5,000 people on the phone at one time. 5,000. I don't care if you're Republican, Democrat, Independent. It doesn't matter. 5,000 people. I don't filter the questions. That's not true. So I don't know who's on the phone. I don't care. And it doesn't matter what question you ask. But we do this for an hour and been doing it every week for 10 years. And it has been an incredible opportunity for me back in Washington, D.C. to stay in touch with my constituents. And I'm going to continue to do so. I will continue to do town hall meetings, and I'll continue to have 5,000 people on that phone. And I will not filter, promise you that. And anybody who wants to participate in one of my weekly teletown, because we do it in different areas. We'll do one in Clark, we'll do one in Washoe, we'll do one in the rural, so we'll rotate it. We can't get all of Clark in one phone call, so we'll do 4 or 5 in Clark over a month and a half, but it does take some time. But to get that kind of participation on one-on-one conversation that I have with my constituents is second to none. It literally is second to none.
So you're committing to an in-person town hall this recess or next? There's one tonight in Reno, 6 to 8. No, he was invited, but he didn't want to go.
We can just email or have a way to kind of have a list of things that are likely to be brought up in a town hall, so this doesn't become a free-for-all, that we have a constructive discussion on,
When I do these town hall meetings, I'll probably get to 20 questions within the hour. 20 questions, and it's the gamut of ideas and concerns.
I don't know, anyway.
Anybody can push 0 on the keypad. I get 150 people on the line. I only get to 20 questions. They leave a message with their name and telephone number, and myself or my staff will call you back. We'll call you back if you have a question or a concern. That way, I can get to as many people as I possibly can.
Yeah, but if we have a list or if we have some areas, kind of sidebars on the things that are really concerning people.
Believe me, they bring them up. They bring them up. Don't get me wrong. They bring them up. These are the things we're really going to we haven't touched on immigration. Is that a topic that nobody wants to have a chance to?
Senator Heller, I have a question for you in regards to immigration. Are you going to support Senator Cortez Masto's bill to overturn what the current administration is doing?
What I did do last week is I signed up for the DACA bill. I am one of, I think, 12 or 13 Republicans that supported immigration reform about 3 or 4 years ago, and I still believe that that is the proper way to go forward. I spent the last 2 days, I left Sunday night, and went down to the Texas southern border. In fact, I got back late last night and was in Laredo and McAllen and some of these areas that have some real problems with drug trafficking, human trafficking, individuals that are crossing. Let's put it this way, if you cross the southern border right now, and they have 200 to 400 a day, your chances of getting across the border is 50-50. That's your chances today, it's 50-50. Now, in the immigration reform bill that I supported, that would have done everything that the White House is talking about today in securing our border. Is there anybody in here that does not favor securing the border? Anybody in here does not support? All right.
No
wall. We're not talking a wall. We're not talking a wall. But are you interested in securing the border? That's fine. That is true.
That's not
answering. In my conversations with Border Patrol, and I have these good conversations, they need 3 things. They need personnel, they need technology, and they need infrastructure. Okay, I'll leave the decisions to them. They're the ones every day with their boots on the ground, these men and women protecting you and I and try to make sure that drugs aren't coming into this country, that human trafficking is not happening in this country, and they do a tremendous job. But the decisions on spending the kind of money that we need to spend should be based on the decisions that they believe that we need. And that's personnel, that's technology, and infrastructure. Where they believe infrastructure is necessary, where they believe personnel is necessary, and technology, and the technology that they need. So I'll continue to support our border control agencies and continue to support that southern border.
But you won't support Catherine Cortez Masto's overturning the ban on Muslims.
I've already expressed my opinion.
But you haven't said if you're supporting it or not.
The answer is immigration reform.
Answer the question.
It's a legislative
Would you
answer.
support going back to jailing employers who hire illegals? The one that Ronald Reagan overturned?
Like Donald Trump
And then
Bill
that
Ruffin.
fixes the whole problem. Just jail employers, because we know who they are. They advertise in Mexico every day. They bring people up.
My turn.
Would you support that? Jail employers who break the law.
I will continue to play to the issues. So when you say there's a bill that says whatever, give me the bill number. My history in 5 years has been pretty open. I voted against most Republicans when it comes to DACA stuff. Doesn't make the Republicans happy. Don't expect it to make you guys say, hey, this guy's a great guy.
So you're okay with that then? All right, thank you.
No, I won't
You're
put
all right with
words. I won't
employers
put words in
benefiting.
your mouth, and I won't let you put them in mine either, ma'am. So thank you very much. Let me give you some thoughts on the town hall. I know that we're anxious to do that, and we should be. But with all due respect, if you want to talk about specificity in legislation on the floor, or specificity regarding health care, or specificity regarding public lands, thank you for bringing that sign. I'll bet you thought it's like, my God. What about federal lands? Great. But I can suggest to you that in April, which is when we will endeavor to schedule the town hall, you will have, oh my God, about 6 more weeks worth to see what really happened and what's actually on the floor in legislation or not. And there was somebody who mentioned, it's like, hey, if you want somebody to say, where are you at on HR, and I'm sorry I used your alias, Mr. Fulkerson. I'll try not to do that with law enforcement in the room. But, you know.
You could have said a lot worse if you didn't like Fulkerson.
That's right, that's right. And I have. So anyway, you know, good for you. Yeah. Well, wait a minute, let me finish the town hall, okay? I mean, if you want somebody who's rapid fire, get a young guy out there, for God's sake.
We're trying.
Yeah, I know you will, and listen, I'm looking forward to that too, because that's our system. However, we're going to endeavor to set it up in April. We're going to endeavor to say, not that we're going to limit anything, but it's like, if you got specific legislation on whatever topic, then that's fine. Say, where are you at on it? It's like, fine, I'll show up.
Will it be in person?
Well, I don't think anybody else would want to be me, so yes.
Can we get a verbal commitment from Senator Heller to be in person at the town hall?
And in Las Vegas too. Your constituents need to hear from you in Las Vegas.
With all due respect, hey, this is my time. You're disrespecting me for him.
We're going to be there, so I'm asking if
You
he's
guys are
actually on
aged,
board.
they're discriminating on the basis of age because he's younger. I don't want that. So anyhow, that's what I'm thinking for purposes of that.
I have a question
Yes, ma'am.
regarding a piece of legislation which you introduced, which would require congressional approval for the designation of national monuments in Nevada. I'm here to say that I oppose that legislation. We need our recreational dollars in Nevada. We need our public lands protected. There are public lands, and I want to hear from you why you would do such a thing, because
I'm prepared
I know what people right
I'm prepared
now
to
that
let you
are
hear
gonna
from me
go there.
right now. Let me know when you're ready.
They're gonna go there because they now know about this area. People are gonna go there. They're gonna get hotel.
I'm prepared for you to hear from me right now. Let me know when you're ready.
I oppose it.
Are you ready to hear from me?
Yes.
Okay, I find it incredibly interesting that in a meeting where rightfully so people are saying we want access to you, we want a town hall, we want a free exchange of information, that you would say, but when it comes to designating 900,000 acres as a national monument for a bill that was done in 1906, which if you read, do that homework, and read the background on it, you're going, this wasn't really meant to take apart. And by the way, the federal government already owned it, with the size of Rhode Island, without so much as a public hearing.
It's protecting the land.
Oh, so if I'm protecting the land, then I don't need to have a town hall and explain myself?
It's for all of us. For all
So is healthcare. So is immigration reform. With all due respect, I'm about to the end of my time. With all due respect, we sincerely disagree on the issue.
Yes, we do.
But I haven't hidden it from you.
I'm not the only one who disagrees.
I know, I understand that. You tell me the last time anybody got polling results that were at 100%. So this absolute standard, while we all strive for it, nobody's ever made it.
Given that Trump's executive orders do not have hearings associated with them, would you stand in opposition to them?
I hope he's not going to be a hypocrite. How's that? I don't get to make executive orders. I'm the guy who said we need to have hearings. We need to do our job. You want to get angry at somebody? If you're angry at me because I'm part of a Congress that hasn't forwarded any immigration legislation in the 5+ years I've been there, you have a very good reason for getting angry. The congressional leadership on both sides of the aisle needs to show some courage. You look in that thing called the Constitution, which God knows I'm not an expert on. It says, Congress shall regulate immigration. Congress has abdicated its job, which is part of the reason why Barack Obama filled that void with executive orders and Donald Trump's starting down that road. Shame on you, congressional leadership on both sides for not doing your job. That's my bottom line on it. How do you go back to being bipartisan? Well, I think it's gatherings like this, don't you all? Hey, listen, all I can tell you is this. Listen, I understand that there are people in this room and outside of it that disagree with me on most, and in some cases, all political issues. Okay, I get that. I'm not minimizing it, I'm just saying that's what you get when you have people doing two different things. But I'll tell you what, I'll be real transparent. You know where I go when it gets the roughest? I go to the facts. It's like, what are the facts and what do we need to do? Does this issue or this policy need to be changed? And there are many that do. But I will tell you this, I'm also such a fuddy-duddy that it's like, my job is to put together the votes or try to use the influence to get those people on my side of the building to pass that legislation. And then it goes to his side or vice versa, and then you go to whoever's in the, it's like, when all else fails, why don't you try, you, Mark, being the plan? And does part of that plan involve input from everybody in this room and out of it? Yeah. Does it mean we're going to agree on everything? History tells us no. But having the conversation is phenomenally important. I think my time has expired. Senator Heller.
Thank you. I want to thank you, the Carson City Chamber, for hosting us. This has been a wonderful event. I hope we have talked to enough people here from the chamber to get your concerns. I want to go back to what I originally talked about, and that's economic growth. We need economic growth here in this country. We're going to do it through tax reform. We're going to do it through banking reform. We're going to do it through reforming the Affordable Care Act so that we can get our country moving in the right direction, moving down the right road. And if we can get 3%, 5%, 4% growth in this country, we're going to solve a lot of problems. And that's my job, and I know that the congressman feels the same way. So thank you very much for being here, having us here, taking some time. I want to thank the chamber and all of you. I want to thank the staff here at Old Dust West. You guys did a wonderful job, and we certainly do appreciate everybody's time, efforts, and energy. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Sheriff, thank you.
On behalf of the gentleman who started all this, who did or who did not cut down the cherry tree, here is a pie for you.
Thank you so much.
And here's a pie for you, so enjoy. This is the biggest one. Costco. I wanted to get them at Costco, and the general manager of Costco is here, because I like those big honkin' pies. And would you believe that they didn't have all the ingredients, which I take that to mean they didn't have the cherries. Is that correct, Bob? So anyway, don't go to Costco to buy a cherry pie, so it's not there. Thank you all for coming. This has been probably one of our most interesting events. For those of you not from here, go downtown, enjoy our downtown. And margaritas will be served in Ole Ole. Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.